Welcome back to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show, and today I'm going to talk about 5 of my favourite 90s indie rock records. The first album I want to talk about is one of my favourite records of all time, probably top 10 easily, and that is Redd Kross Phase Shifter. Redd Kross's Phase Shifter is easily one of the greatest records from the 90s. The guitar tones, the melodies, the harmonies, the playing, the drum sound, everything about this record is absolute perfection. This album is a solid piece of work from start to finish. There's no dead spots, there's no filler. It is just kick-ass song after kick-ass song. When I first heard Redd Kross's Phase Shifter, I was already on a Redd Kross kick and I'd already thought that the band was amazing. But when I heard this record, I realized just how amazing they were. The first 2 tracks on the album, Jimmy's Fantasy and Lady in the Front Row, were both singles and they were both amazing. The videos were always played on Rage, which is our late night music TV program, and just seeing them on there was just mind-blowing for us. It was just like, oh my god, this is incredible. I love this band so much. I first had the album on CD for a while and it actually came with an extra track, a bonus track, which is Any Hour Every Day, but you can hear all about that in the Redd Kross video. I have done a Redd Kross video, but it didn't focus on the vinyl version of Phase Shifter, purely because I feel that Phase Shifter needs its own spotlight, because it really is such a great record. If you've heard this album, you know just how good it is. There is nothing on this album that sucks. Nothing at all. Like, it's all fantastic. My favorite track on this is probably Visionary. Maybe it's Visionary, no, maybe it's the reworking of Huge Wonder that is on here, because the version of Huge Wonder that is on here is way better than the single version, the other comp versions or whatever. And just like the song title says, it sounds huge. Huge Wonder is easily one of the heaviest songs on this record, and it's just such a great rocker. And when I saw them at Festival Hall, they opened up with that. This album, let's look at the track listing. You got, like I said, Jimmy's Fantasy, which opens up with like a brief couple of seconds there of the original Standing in Front of Poser recording, which is great. That hit it, like that's at the beginning of Jimmy's Fantasy. It's great, so good. And then you got Lady in the Front Row, which is power pop perfection. From there you go into the 2 slow songs on the album, which is Monolith and Crazy World, and both of those songs are great. When I first heard them together, I thought, I don't know if that was a smart move, but then I realized, nah man, this actually works perfect. This is awesome. Then after that you've got Dumb Angel and Huge Wonder, both amazing songs, and then we get on to side B. Kicks off with Visionary, Pay for Love, and then you've got like Miss Lady Evans, Only a Girl, and finishing with Saragon and After School Special. There's the back cover. This album is just incredible. It has been reissued by Third Man Records, so do yourself a favor and get a copy because it is incredible. This is the original one on This Way Up Records. There's the vinyl there. You've got these photos there, and then you've got on the other side photos and lineup and personnel and thanks lists and all that sort of stuff. Phase Shifter is still my favourite Redd Kross album to this day, even though I love absolutely everything that they've done. And if you haven't heard it, do yourself a favour. Next album I want to talk about is one that just absolutely blew my mind. I had heard the band beforehand on skate radio and stuff like that, but I wasn't blown away by them. And I don't know why that was. Maybe just I wasn't in the right headspace at the time. Maybe I was listening to different music and it didn't appeal to me then. But when I heard this record, it just totally floored me. And that is Buffalo Tom's Let Me Come Over. I first heard Let Me Come Over at the Virgin Megastore in Rundle Mall in Adelaide. And basically they had these listening stations there. And I walked in and I was intrigued by the cover art. And I picked it up and was like, oh wow, this was a CD at the time. I don't think the Virgin Megastore ever sold vinyl. So this is a reissue that I got from Music on Vinyl many years later. So this album was at the listening station and I put on the headphones and I just sat there and listened. I knew who Buffalo Tom were. I knew that they were kind of like a rock band, a noisy band or whatever. And so I was like, right, let's hear what we got. And it starts off with Staples, which is such a great opener. Then it busts into Taillights Fade, which is such a heartbreaking jam, that line, watch my taillights fade to black. It was so good. And it was just what I needed to hear at that time of my life. I was blown away. There's a song in here called Mineral. And listening to it in headphones, it really just connected with me. It sounded beautiful. It sounded pretty. And it sounded depressing and sad as well at the same time, as he's screaming out, "You're so green." And it just blew my mind. I was just like, fuck, I need this album. And, I was already sitting there going, yeah, I'm walking home with this today. But then that feeling of, yes, I'm going to walk home with this today was completely solidified when I heard the song Velvet Roof. Velvet Roof is such a great tune. It really is. And there's just something about that riff, that which is just so good. It's infectious, it's catchy, it's just a rocker, you know. And then you've got like, you know, the sweet ballad Frozen Lake on there, which is just sweet. This album rules. But like I said, you know, I only just got the vinyl, you know, in the last maybe 10 years or something, whenever it came out, because I couldn't find it on vinyl, but I had the CD forever, you know, since it came out. But yeah, this is such a good album. If you have ever, you know, slept on Buffalo Tom, well, now's the time to wake up and buy yourself a copy. It's really good. And this has been reissued, I believe, as a anniversary edition with bonus tracks and stuff. I think it's a live concert or something. So now's your time to get it. The next album is another album that I heard at the same Virgin Megastore, but not on the same day. I went in there one day and I knew about this band because I'd heard a couple of songs on Skate Radio, which was the radio show where I used to listen to all the good independent music, and it was on 3D radio, but back then it was called Triple M. But anyway, they used to play so much good alternative music, and they played some Soul Asylum. Well, the album that was in Virgin Megastore that day was none other than Gravedancers Union. This is actually a reissue. I didn't know it ever came out on vinyl back in the day, but it's an album I've always loved, and I'm so glad to have it on vinyl. This is actually the 2LP edition that came out for Record Store Day. It's numbered. It's on beautiful coloured vinyl. Green, red. The inner sleeves look like this. Band photo. Why is it that all these band photos in the 90s always had a guy holding a cigarette? And there you go. But Gravedancers Union is a phenomenal record from start to finish. I absolutely love this album. And I'm actually stoked because the only time that I ever got to see Soul Asylum live, they actually played this album in its entirety. They're on tour with this thing in America called the Big Album Tour or something. And it was like the Wailers and some band called Big Ed Ted or Big Ed Todd or whatever. And Matthew Sweet doing Girlfriend, I believe he was doing. But anyway, they were playing this album. And so I had to go. And so I saw it in Atlanta, Georgia, and you can see some photos here. And they were awesome. I think Dave Pirner was the only original member of the band that night, you know, but it doesn't matter because it's Soul Asylum and it's all good. I took the set list off the stage, which is the most pointless set list ever considering it's just the album played in its entirety, but I did get it signed, which is pretty rad. So yeah, the only time I got to see Soul Asylum was playing the album that actually turned me on big time to Soul Asylum. And this album is fantastic. Yes, I know that Runaway Train was the big hit single and whatever, and a lot of people thought they mellowed out and whatever. They were writing fantastic songs. They always have been writing fantastic songs. And like Hang Time has like the best segue ever. Like you've got Cartoon and Sometime to Return together. Like, is there a better two-song segue than those two songs? I don't know. But anyway, Gravedancers Union, fantastic songs. Opens up with Somebody to Shove, which is such a killer tune. And I remember when I heard that chorus in the headphones that day at Virgin Megastore, I was so in, and I just said, yeah, I'm buying this album. Like, didn't even bother to listen to the rest of it. I just listened to that one song and I was like, yep, I'm done. This is it. And I took it home and played it ever since and still listen to this regularly. In fact, I listened to it like 3 days ago and I still love it just as much as I loved it back then. The next album I want to talk about is an album that came on my desk when I was reviewing music. And I remember the label sending it to me and it landed on my desk. And I'm looking at it going, well, this is interesting. I knew the band name, but I'd never listened to them. The band is Archers of Loaf. White Trash Heroes is the album that appeared on my desk that day. This is a cover art then. It looks a lot different to the one here because this is a reissue. Now this reissue is awesome. There is a company called Pop Market and you could buy like records, and back in the day they used to just put up records and the shipping was like included or something, and so you'd go on there and you'd pay like, you know, $50 or whatever, and they sent you 4 records, postage paid. I guess they were losing so much money that they ended up charging postage in the end, but I remember they had an Archers of Loaf 4-pack and I bought the 4 records that way, which is really cool because these albums are amazing. But anyway, when this album landed on my desk, I, you know, like I said, I had not heard it, but I listened to it. And I was immediately attracted to the sounds that were coming from it because sonically it's a bizarre record. Like it's a mixture of different sounds, different styles all packed in together, but it works. It just works and it's so good. So good. I can't rave about this record enough. I've listened to it so many times over the years. I still listen to it at least once a month. It's still just emotionally a really good record to listen to. And especially the title track, White Trash Heroes. It's such a bizarre song, like it's just an electronic song on a keyboard or whatever, but it's just something haunting about the lyrics and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, this whole record is just unique in its own way, and it's a bit different to the other Archers of Loaf stuff because, you know, as I said, I bought all the records now, so I've heard them all. But yeah, it's still a fantastic record, and if you've never heard Archers of Loaf before and you don't know where to start, can I recommend this? Can I? Well, I am. So yeah, very cool. This is like a gatefold. So there you go, gatefold sleeve. There's the back cover. There's the inner sleeve. And this one's on white vinyl. Now these reissues came with like bonus tracks, tons of bonus tracks, like demos and stuff like that. So if you can find these, grab a copy of them because they come with a download card that's got all these extra tracks. Well worth it. The last album I'm going to talk about today is an album that when I heard them originally, I saw their videos on Rage and I was into it, but I wasn't blown away. I liked it though, don't get me wrong, I did really like the songs. The band I'm talking about is Sonic Youth. Rage would always play Cool Thing and Silver Rocket, always. It was always being played, and I always liked those songs. You know, I thought they were just great tunes. But I wasn't like a diehard Sonic Youth fan or anything like that. I liked them, but I wasn't like going to go out and buy all their records. And that was until Dirty came out. And the reason why is because there's a video called 100% that has skateboarding in it, which immediately got my attention because I love skateboarding. And so immediately I was like, all right, what's this? And I got into it. I thought 100% was such a fantastic song. Now, it doesn't end there though. I went into a store called Andromeda, and Andromeda had a long box. Do you remember those things that like American releases? They're long boxes, cardboard boxes, and they have the CDs in them. Well, anyway, there was no vinyl of Dirty around, but they did have a long box. Now, I bought this, and I believe it was a promo copy or something like that. Now, here is this actual CD from that day. It's got a orange spine, which I believe was not the norm. A lot of other copies I saw had a grey tray. They didn't have this transparent orange one. Anyway, so there was a bit of controversy about Dirty around at the time, and I do believe I saw on TV, although maybe I've made it up in my head or something like that, but I'm pretty sure I saw it, because nobody else I know ever saw this. But there was a TV program we had that was like a current affair or something, and I'm pretty sure there was a segment where they were in Rundle Mall interviewing people about this album on whether the picture under the tray was offensive. Now, I didn't know anything about this under the tray stuff. I believe Sonic Youth may have been the first band that I know of that did the under the tray stuff. Now, this is a picture of like a couple of people having sex with like fluffy animals or something like that, and they hid it under the tray, and so the people who have the grey tray one didn't even know it was there. But all that this Current Affair special did was make people go and have a look at their copy of Dirty and lift up the tray. A lot of people probably never even would have done that, you know, had they not known about it. But anyway, this version doesn't have a grey tray. It's see-through, so you can actually see the picture there. And to be honest, I must say that after Sonic Youth did this, I'm pretty sure that I noticed tons of bands were doing it. So I don't know if they were the game changers and they were the first band to do it, but they were definitely the first band that I saw do it. So I didn't have Dirty on vinyl until I finally got this box set. And one of the cool things about this is that it has all the tracks from singles and EPs and stuff like that were coming off this album, which is great because they do a really good version of Is It My Body, the Alice Cooper song. But yeah, this album just rules, and it does have my favourite Sonic Youth song on it, which is Youth Against Fascism. Not only because it has Ian MacKaye playing guitar on it, which is awesome in itself, but just because I really love that thumping beat, that dong, da, da, dong, da, dong, dong. It's really, really good. So this 4 LP box set has all these extra tracks, as you can see here. So it was a no-brainer. I got this for $50 from Goldmine Records. So yeah, lots to see in there. So you get this booklet inside it. So as you can see here, got more pictures, stuff, more stuff, more stuff. As you can see there, how rad is that? But the funny thing about it is that those people that got pissed off about the photo on the inside of the tray, well, you know, in the box set, you get a giant picture of it. So it's, you can cut it out and frame it on the wall if you really want to. But you do have like the covers of like the EPs. That was the Oz Tour EP. I've got that on vinyl somewhere. It's a really good record too. The records have all the covers of the singles on there, as you can see, band photos. So it's a pretty decent, that's a Sugarcane single. That's a great song. Drunken Butterfly, another great song. and Youth Against Fascism. So if you've only heard the standard version of Sonic Youth Dirty, I highly recommend this deluxe version because those extra tracks are awesome and they're well worth checking out, and I'm so happy that this exists. Sonic Youth Dirty is the 5th record that I'm talking about in this video because it's awesome. So definitely a game changer. From this album I've gone and bought other Sonic Youth records. This is the album that really made me a Sonic Youth fan. So there we have it. 5 great records from the 90s that I love, and I hope that you do too. And if you've never heard these records, I really do hope that you go and check them out. You know, don't just take my word for it, but, you know, let your ears make decisions for you. You know, listen to these records and, you know, you might hear something that you like. Then again, you might think that, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. So, you know, that's the beauty of music, is that we all love different stuff. So, thank you once again for watching another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. I'll be back again in the next video, but until then, look after yourselves and take care of each other, okay? All right, bye-bye, guys.